Imagine being on a sailboat on a hot summer's day with perfect sailing conditions. White sails up, a nice light breeze pushing you along steadily. You're relaxing in the cockpit with a podcast while watching the beautiful world slowly go by. Imagine if every day was like this, easy, uneventful, stress-free. No squalls, no boat work, no storms, no crowded anchorage, no near collisions. You wouldn't feel grateful for it. You get used to it and take it all for granted. Well, luckily, the real sailing life isn't like that at all. There's only a few days a year when the wind conditions are perfect, the anchorage is empty, the boat doesn't need maintenance, and you get a decent night's sleep. And that's great, because you get to feel even luckier when everything goes right. Your humble old boat becomes $1 million yacht, your average home-cooked meals turn into delicacies, and you can't help staring at the world and feel your heart swell with happiness. So here's a week of real sailing life, where we really appreciate those rare, amazing moments. We're not good at conveying that gratitude, that energy on camera, but we hope we can show you it all. The everyday boat maintenance, the stressful situations, the thrill of sailing into a new place, and the gratitude for a beautiful, calm anchorage.
One of the first things we did on Skua to kick off the refit was to strip and wood skin all of the exterior wood. That was back in December. So it's been just over 6 months now, so we need to touch it up a bit. It's quite easy to add an extra coat. All you need to do is wipe it down with water and then apply another coat on top. So I've got my spray bottle with water and my clean paper towel, so I'm just going to go over it, make sure there's no salt or anything on it, and just wipe it down so it's nice and clean and ready for the next coat.
Don't worry, I'm not sunbathing. We don't even sunbathe on Skua. I'm just trying to make some money to pay for some upgrades that we hope we can make in the next 6 months on Skua. I'm not going to reveal them yet just because I don't know if I'll be able to earn enough money to make them, but yeah, I'm just doing the usual copywriting work and it's pretty good. It's not too hot today yet, so it's really nice being down below. Why are we up so early?
Well, we've actually been up most of the night. There's been really strong wind from the northeast, really gusty coming off the mountains, and it's really warm, so we had to have like the hatches open, but then it was really noisy with all the loud gusts, so neither of us really slept very much. I looked at the weather forecast again, and I think maybe we can escape it by just like going south enough that we're away from the mountains, and hopefully we won't get these gusts down there. So yeah, that's today's plan really, to get away from this area.
We've waited a little while because there were gusts up to 42 knots and we didn't really fancy picking up the anchor in those. And now it's gusting up to 30 and we're gonna try and basically work with the gusts. So pull up the chain while it's not gusting, and then obviously I'll help Ryan with the engine, and hopefully we'll be out of here soon. The wind is really blowing us sideways, and there's a few boats anchored over there, so I'm gonna have to try and turn as hard as I can. But Ryan's still pulling up the last bit of chain, so I can't really go fast. Okay, we're safe. Whew.
So it was still fairly gusty when we were picking up the anchor, but then as soon as we turned to set off, the winds just completely died, and I don't think there's even enough apparent wind to fill a sail, but it's kind of expected with all these mountains around. There's some pretty high islands and big mountains on the mainland, so we're not that surprised, but it's just a bit annoying. You spend all day waiting for the wind to drop so you can pick up the anchor, and then as soon as you do, there's no wind to sail. Looks like a catch river.
I saw you down the motorway. There was something about you that day. I can still hear the shimmering sound. The hill is near, let's get right up. Walk up to the very top. We couldn't tell the sky from the ground. I know my life will never be the same after that day. You wrap me around your fingers and
What just happened?
We unfurled the Yankee as we had some decent wind from behind, but as soon as we got it out, it started gusting over 30 knots and then changed direction so that it was on the same side as the Yankee. The wind today is just like all over the place. It's gone again from like 5 knots to 30 plus, and I'm sure it'll drop again in a minute.
Luckily, with mainland Greece behind us, the sea didn't build as much as the wind speed called for. All we needed to worry about was keeping our sails safe. 40 knots are enough to rip a sail if you're over-canvassed. We tried to put some distance between us and the mountains, which were causing the strong gusts, before unfurling the Yankee again. Let's try this again! We've been having gusts up to 40, 42 knots for the past hour or so, but it seems like it's calming down, touch wood, touch wood. So we are trying again to sail with the Yankee, and it's around 20 knots at the moment, and it's on the stern, so it's nice and gentle, and hopefully we won't have to furl it back again. One of the realities of sailboat life is that you depend heavily on the weather conditions every day. On land, the wind strength and weather don't seem much of a big deal in the day-to-day life because you're often in protected areas. On the coast, over 30 knots of wind are a concern. Rain makes life wet. Swell often means a sleepless night, and thunderstorms can be scary. That's why life on a sailboat can be so up and down. One minute you're in paradise, the next you're worried about your safety. So the gusts have gone, finally. Feeling a little bit more relaxed. We just had a quick lunch, Greek salad, for a change. And we are approaching Ithaca, and we're gonna go into the town of Vathi. And it's not really because we want to go to a town, but it's mainly because the anchorages here are all really deep. And we're just going to the two that are shallow enough for us to anchor in, really. And Vathi is one of them. It's really cool because you can see Ithaca in the foreground and Kefalonia, which is another island just behind it. Ithaca is one of Greece's most famous islands. According to Greek mythology, it's supposedly Odysseus' island home. Odysseus is the hero of the Odyssey, an ancient Greek epic poem by Homer. After the Iliad, it's the second oldest surviving work of Western literature. So cute! Well, it took us a few goes, but the anchor has bitten in now. It's super buried under the mud in the harbour, and yeah, it looks really cool. It's amazing being among this really cute town. It's really cute but quite big, so it's a weird feeling. Can't wait to go to shore. Got the oars.
The oars. Yep.
Money. Alright.
Have you got the wallet?
Yeah, I do. Put the camera away so we can row.
Jump in the dink, yep.
What's it called? Canoe style rowing?
Yeah, Canadian style.
Canadian style. So we couldn't resist to the temptation of having a cold coffee on shore while looking at our boat. I don't think it's ever gonna happen again, so that's what we're gonna do. Have a cold coffee and just stare at Skua. Is it good?
It's incredible. It's a cold coffee with a scoop of ice cream in it.
There's 26 knots of wind. We were in the anchorage in Vathi, and friend's boat dragged, so we went over, made sure it was fine. The guy was back on board, so it was all fine. But we've seen that the holding it isn't very good in that anchorage, and pretty much none of the boats around us had dug their anchors in, so. And we know it's gonna last until maybe midnight, so we decided, let's get out of here. The effort of picking up the anchor in 26 knots will be worth the, we'll have the reward of having a relaxed evening without constantly keep a lookout for boats dragging, which of course we want to help, and boats dragging into us, which of course is quite stressful. So just come out of the main bay of Vathi. And there's a bay to the west of it that should be well sheltered, better holding in sand, and yeah, decent depth. We arrived in this lovely, safe anchorage just on time for dinner and waited for our friends on hot chocolate to come round and have a beer together. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, subscribe to our channel and consider supporting our production on Patreon. We make these videos in the spare time we have left from our freelance work, so your contribution really helps our production costs like data, SD cards, constantly breaking cables, cameras and more. Join us next week as we sail south.